Hi, my name's Lisa Noon and I'm the crafter behind Crafternoon. Please enjoy this left-handed Christmas crochet garland video. So what we need for this project is some chunky wool, the appropriate size crochet hook, a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, an embroidery needle, and obviously a beverage of your own choice. In my case, it's a coffee. I've used this particular colour because it shows up well on camera. Okay, so let's move those out of the way for now. And let's start with a slip knot. So, round your finger, make a loop like so, so it ends up looking like that. And then you use this tail end and you pull the tail end through the loop. So round your finger, cross over, pull. Now there are lots of ways to do a slip knot, that's the way I do it. Pull tight onto your hook. So I've slowed down this footage, so yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. I'm going to show you that again. Yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook. And that's called a chain stitch, and you need to do 4 of these chain stitches. So now I want to show you which chain stitch we're going to go into. It's this one, the very first one that you did. It's the 4th chain from the hook, and you're going to put your hook in there, and that's where we're going to start to make our loop. So now we're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook. We're going to move our tail yarn out of the way. We're going to yarn over and we're going to slip stitch through both, and then we're going to do a chain stitch. And now we're going to find the hole. So you can see where my finger is, there's a hole there. That's where the middle of our loop is that we've created, and we're going to work into that loop. So we're going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops, and this is a double crochet in UK terms. We've got to do 6 of these. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to actually pop a stitch marker on to indicate my first stitch before I move on. And now I'm going to do 5 more double crochets into it. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now if you're not sure whether you've got enough stitches, it's good to count. I'm back to the beginning, so I've been counting as I've gone along, and I'm going to go back into, I'm going to slip stitch into where my stitch marker was. And then I'm going to chain 1. So now we've got to increase. So I'm going to put my stitch marker back in to the chain stitch so that I know where the beginning of my round is. This stitch marker is particularly tricky to get in. There we are, it's in place. So now we're going to increase. This is our increase rate. So I've put my stitch marker in so I know where I'm going. Sorry, where the beginning of my round is. I'm going to go into this first stitch here, and I'm going to do 2 stitches. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through into my stitch again, pull up a loop, yarn over, again into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, there we are. So we started with 6, we should have 12 stitches when we get back to our stitch marker. So we could check now if you're not sure whether you've got going to that stitch count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is our last stitch, this one here. The last one's always a bit tight. And we know we've got to slip stitch where our stitch marker is. So we're going to take the stitch marker out. So we need to catch both loops. We're going to go slip like that and another stitch. We're going to pop the stitch marker back in. This is a particularly tricky stitch marker. It doesn't want to go in when it's told. Like so. I'm going to put it back on the hook now. I think another cup of drink of coffee is needed. There we are. So all you're going to do the next round is literally double crochets into each loop, into each stitch. So you should do 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one isn't quite right, I can feel it. 7, that's better. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we take our stitch marker out again. We know we've got to go back into that stitch there. So we're going to go back into our original stitch and we're going to do a slip stitch. So yarn over through that loop and through the other loop, and then we're going to chain 1, yarn over, pull through. Chain there. I'm going to put my stitch marker back in. And now we're going to do what they call an invisible decrease. I'm just going to grab my embroidery needle to show you. So these are your V's of your stitches, these bits here. And for the invisible decrease, we need to do the front loop. So that's front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop. So, more coffee. We're going to collect the front loop there. 1, 2. So we've got 2 front loops on. So you should have 3 loops on. Yarn over and pull through 2. And then yarn over, pull through 2. That's your first decrease. Next one, front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. If you can't see it, just turn it out like this. Loop, front loop, and the front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, 1, 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, 1. This should be your last one. So we're getting back to our stitch marker, pull through 2, 2. There is another one there. Can you see it? There and there. So that's your last decrease there and there. So sometimes I think this is the trickiest bit of these balls. 1, 2. So it's always useful to count your stitches. Pull through 2, 2. And that's our ball finished. We're then taking our stitch marker out. We're going to slip stitch and then chain 1. Finish. So I am cutting off my yarn and then I am pulling the yarn end through and pulling tight to finish my stitch. Is just sew up this bottom. So I'm just going to thread my embroidery needle like so. I'm going to weave it in and out of that first row of stitches. Now sometimes when you do this, you'll see what I mean in a minute, you create more holes which you may have to just catch with your needle. Give it a bit of a wiggle. So here, look, it's pulling these stitches as well. So I'm just going to weave back through there and just close those up like that. And then back around the centre to make sure there are no holes in my work at all, like that. One more stitch for good luck. Then I'm going to just stick it through the centre like that to get rid of that. And the next stage is to stuff it and sew it up. Okay, so we've got a little bit of stuffing. That's far too much for what I need, but it was easy just to grab that last slurp of coffee. Okay, so we have got our little ball shape. We've got two tail ends. One is the one from inside, from the bottom, so I'm just going to disappear that inside. Like so. And then I'm just going to grab a tiny bit of stuff. Now don't overstuff them, because what will happen is you'll end up with holes. You just need enough to give it a shape. Put little bits in at a time. You can even use your crochet hook to help you. And if your fingers are too big and squidgy like mine are, my thumbs are quite big. And now I'm going to thread my needle. Move that out of the way. And all you're going to do now is you're going to weave in and out of this top row. Like so. So I'm going in and out of this top row of stitches like that to gather. Like so. Gather. So. Gather. When it pulls it tight, I'm just going to do a few stitches across the top. And if you're making a garland, this is when this bit disappears, you take it off. If you're making something that you've got to hang them, you can use these to hang on your tree, like so. So if I was using them to hang on a tree as an ornament, I would leave a loop like that, hold it, and then I would darn it, sew it up like so to secure the loop. Good stuff. Like that. If I was doing it as a, here's one I prepared earlier. If you are of a certain age, you'll remember that from Blue Peter. Just going to stuff this one. When you are creating projects like this, you end up with loads and loads of samples everywhere. There we go. I'm going to thread my needle and do the same again for this one. So I'm going to weave in and out, start to put it all together. Like so. Now I think I put a little bit too much stuff in this one because I'm creating myself holes. But that's fine. If you, like I showed you earlier with the bottom, if you do get any holes, we can just pull our needle through, look, and just do a little bit of a stitch there to stop the holes. So when you've finished making the garland with this tail end, all you're going to do is you're going to push it through like so into the middle you're going to squash it down a little bit and take your scissors and cut it off. And then as you shape it up again, the tail end disappears. So you've got your two options. You can make them as a bauble for your tree, or for a ball for your garland. The next stage is to put your garland together. So we're in a position now where we can actually sew them all together. So I've just got some butchered twine, and all you're going to, on the end of a embroidery needle, and I've got about 2 meters here, and all you're going to do is you're going to thread it all the way through the center of your balls. So in the order that you want them. So you could add extra things on between, like bells. So you could thread a bell through. And all you're doing is put them through until you're happy with what you've got. So come back when I've finished. So you could spread them out nice and evenly with a bell or without a bell. Or you can make lots of them and push them together to make them a little bit dense like this, again with or without things in between. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you did, like and subscribe. Thank you.